I should not be here. So many of my life stories seem to begin with, I should not be here. And I almost wasn't, but I'm getting ahead of myself. In 2020, a meme circulated widely on social media reminding us that although we were all in the same storm on the same ocean, we were in very different boats. Mine was sinking. Not outwardly. You couldn't look at me and tell that I was failing at bailing the water from my boat. But the fact that you couldn't see it didn't mean that it wasn't true. In November 2020, I contracted COVID. I remember lying in bed thinking it would be so incredibly easy to just fall asleep and not wake up. Later, in the hospital, I had a moment that changed my life. While waiting for test results, I had a sudden thought of, this isn't it. This is not how my life ends. I haven't done what I've come here to do. I was right. I was sick, but I wasn't dying, and I got to go home that day. 4 months later, I began the ending of my marriage. In doing so, I had to acknowledge and resolve an unhealthy relationship with alcohol. 6 months after that, I quit the job that was slowly destroying my soul. I wasn't sure what exactly I was going to do with the rest of my life, but I knew that I wasn't going to spend another moment pretending to be someone that I wasn't. So I did what any reasonable woman who believed she had nothing left to lose would do. I went to Mexico for 4 months. To heal, I said. In February 2022, I sat on my balcony overlooking the bay and thought, I wish I could walk into the ocean, just walk along the bottom until I turn into a mermaid and swim away. I didn't recognize it at the time, but I was in the midst of a major mental health crisis. It had been a year since I made sweeping changes to my life, and yet my boat was still sinking. The next month, I returned home to Colorado. Less than a week later, I had a moment of conscious awareness and found myself Googling lethal doses of medications I had on hand. What was I doing? For the first time in my life, I was uncertain of everything and afraid of myself. Somehow, I had managed to slip underwater without realizing it, and I wasn't sure that I was going to be able to resurface. I wasn't even sure that I wanted to. When I thought back to that moment in the emergency room 18 months prior, I was angry. Why would the universe have given me the will to live then, only to allow me to lose it when I needed it the most? What had I done to my life? If I reframed that, how badly did I want to live the authentic life I had been talking about for a year at that point? I sought out a safe harbor. I began by standing in my shame and admitting to those closest to me that I was suicidal and genuinely feared myself. I made and kept appointments with doctors and therapists even when I didn't want to be there, even when I thought that I didn't want to be here. I cried oceans of tears. I received a diagnosis of delayed onset CPTSD from childhood trauma, and so much began to make sense. And then I realized that I was trained for exactly this moment. You see, before leaving that job I hated, I trained to be a coach. Before leaving for Mexico, I began training specific to trauma and rewiring neurology. That training saved my life. I reached out to my teachers, mentors, and colleagues, some of whom are here tonight. I did the work, the same work that as a coach and a healing practitioner, I ask my clients to do. And one by one, I slowly began to repair the holes in my boat. I am so grateful to those people who helped me keep my spark lit, that I could become a lighthouse for other souls sinking in their darkness. Why did the universe allow me to know such a fierce will to live, only to allow me to lose it? Because I needed to remember that I have a purpose that is larger than I am. Because I needed to understand the depths of my own pain so that I could understand the pain my clients may have endured in order that I might help navigate their rough waters. I stand before you today, a wounded healer, scarred and perfectly imperfect. A year ago, I wasn't sure that I would be standing, and I never thought that I would be here. But I am, and I absolutely should be. That, my friends, is the power of the human spirit. It is a testament to honesty, vulnerability, and community, to bearing our shame for others to witness and allowing ourselves to be held and supported until we're able to stand on our own again. As humans, we are not infallible. We all make mistakes. We all have dark moments. We all carry shame. We are all on different oceans, in different weather conditions, in very different boats. But we all have access to that tiny spark inside of us that is the human spirit. In the middle of a storm, what is a lighthouse if not a spark of light that guides other souls to their safe harbor?